Reverend Jerry Falwell collapsed in his Liberty University office. The prominent conservative televangelist was rushed to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead Tuesday afternoon.
He's been a great citizen of Lynchburg. He loves Lynchburg, and he loves the citizens of Lynchburg.
Yeah, he had his ups and downs with the city, for sure.
Regardless of what people in the city or outside of the city thought about him, you know, it is a sad event.
He was a very strong personality, and there were people who despised him.
Hometown hero. You'd see people say, oh, there's Jerry Falwell, you know, look, there he goes.
It's either the first or second largest employer in Lynchburg.
One of the things they did at graduation today is they sort of symbolically passed the torch. They introduced Jerry Jr. and Jonathan in their new roles.
He's graduated to be with the Lord, and there's no greater place to be, in my opinion.
Jonathan, who is his successor at Thomas Road, is not his father and will never be.
Nobody ever comes to Lynchburg unless they're going through Lynchburg. Now people come to Lynchburg.
Because there was only one Jerry. Well, Lynchburg was an old southern town in a lot of ways, and it had its elite, its power structure, who lived in a certain part of town, which was not the part of town that Jerry grew up in. So he was not on the radar of the movers and shakers in Lynchburg. And I think later, as he became nationally famous, there was a little bit of resentment, I think, perhaps a little bit of how could he do this without going through the usual channels, and who does he think he is, type of thing. And Jerry, for his part, always seemed to crave the respect of these people.
19th century, came down here, back of a pickup truck. I remember pulling onto the Liberty Mountain. There was a dirt road going into the place, and my parents said, "Are you sure you want to stay here?" We had classes in a big top tent. There were kerosene heaters in the ceiling, and we had sat on folding chairs with puddles of ice at our feet. So we thought we were big pioneers.
A lot of people think that without Jerry Falwell, we wouldn't even have any growth here at all.
He brought in a big college, you know, a big university, Liberty, which, you know, brings in different people from all nationalities, all origins.
Jerry's vision was as big as all outdoors there, that his dream was to have a Christian university. It's now, I don't know, it's either the first or second largest employer in Lynchburg. And so the economic impact, all you have to do is look around Lynchburg now and see the hotels that are going up. Go down on 29 South and see all the restaurants that are there now. See the development everywhere you look around. That's to a large degree due to the growth of the university. Nobody ever comes to Lynchburg unless they're going through Lynchburg. And now people come to Lynchburg.
I know Jerry, you know, he was a controversial figure.
Been very controversial, polarized in a lot of ways.
There were people who loved him. There were people who didn't necessarily have the best feelings for him.
You know, he stuck his foot in his mouth a lot.
People said Jerry owned the city. I didn't think that. I mean,
he's always been steadfast in his conviction.
But there's plenty of people that probably like him. They respect him.
He was a very strong personality, and there were people who despised him in town. And it was really hard to be neutral about him, although I think in later years, he sort of mellowed in later years. And I think there were more and more people who would say things like, well, I don't agree with Jerry, I don't believe in all he stands for, but he seems like a likable sort of person, and I think he's done a lot for the community. So I guess an analogy that always came to mind with me, he became sort of like the city's relative. And he was sort of like the uncle that you don't always agree with when you talk politics, but you like him anyway, you know, that kind of thing. You still have him over for dinner.
Even if you didn't like Jerry, if you talk with him for a few minutes, you're going to turn around and call him your best friend after he's finished with it.
He was like a grandfather to all of us, you know, and he so was. Like,
Familiar
he'd just come up,
face.
yeah, he'd just come up and hug you.
He pulled up behind her in a Suburban, and you're like,
boop, like nudged her car. And Jerry Falwell's like, hello, you know?
He was the most giving person that I've ever met.
Jerry is an irreplaceable man.
Well, they're definitely big shoes to fill.
I think it will go on.
It's going to go on.
Becoming a major player in the nation.
Catapult the institution into the next generation.
We are firm believers that God is sovereign in all of this.
Perhaps the next century, if the Lord tarries.
I think Liberty will continue to grow. I went to the graduation today and talked to quite a few of the graduates, and most of them said, in fact, none of them said they came there because of him. In fact, one student from New Jersey said she'd never heard of him before she decided to go to Liberty. I think the school has gotten out there enough now and it's big enough, and I think it has a momentum. I think it can keep going forward, especially since Jonathan is the pastor of the church, and Jerry Jr. is now the chancellor. So I think they've kept the name, and so they have that identity as opposed to just bringing in somebody from somewhere else.
That they have a tremendous board who will also have the same vision for the future. Even though Jerry may not be here now, I think the spirit of what he has started there will continue to be a marvelous university. The Lord has a plan, and Jerry always said that he would not die until the Lord had completed the work that he had for him to do here. We realize now that that time has come when people must step forward.
I think that the real question is what will happen to the television ministry, because Jonathan, who is his successor at Thomas Road, is not his father and will never be. I mean, which is nothing against him. It's just there's only one Jerry Falwell. It's really a lot to ask Jonathan to be him. And in fact, he doesn't have Jerry's colorful background. He doesn't have any of that. Problem is that if you look at that as the engine of the donations that they get, that's where the problem may come in. Where are they going to get their money? They're going to have to, he may just have to find other ways of tapping into people.
That we need to be reminded that God is still at work in our lives. When we cannot feel Him, He is there. When we cannot see or hear Him, He is always there. He said, I will never, never leave thee nor forsake thee.